got a 2008 song for you that I bought.
Yeah.
When the fish swam out of the ocean and grew legs and they started walking.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dugout. It's the 6th of February. Another big weekend of football. The Premier League was back after last weekend of the boring FA Cup stuff we had to sit through. Doesn't do anything for me. Luke, how you doing, mate? How's your week been?
It's good, mate. I'm well. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I mentioned last week I had my Christmas party last week in February.
Oh, yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, it was all right.
Oh, was that it?
No, one guy did embarrass himself. Like, obviously, every time you go to a Christmas party, you want at least one person to get like completely fucked.
Yeah. Was he like a junior in the office?
No, he's quite old. He's quite old, but like he hasn't been drinking for like a year,
Right.
so he's obviously just completely forgot how much he forgot how much he can drink. He's just going up to all the girls, going, "What do you reckon about him? He's definitely got a massive." And he was doing it to everyone around the room, and like pretending to like him off and stuff. And girls were saying to him like, "Please, can you stop?
Right.
You've been doing this all night." And he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm just obsessed. It was really weird.
Big weekend in the Premier League this weekend. We're going to kick this episode off. We've got a task to do. The first task is how we would have spent Todd Boehly's 323 million quid on our own clubs, basically. But isn't it like he spent more than that? It says here on the sheet 323 mil. That's just in December. He spent like 600 mil in about 8 months.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand, to be honest. And like, obviously, with all the news of like Man City and financial fair play, I'm imagining that this is going to come back to bite them massively at some point.
I hope it does come back to bite them. Chelsea do deserve it, just as a club.
Yeah,
I didn't read the sheet properly, which was my which is my own fault.
Yeah,
I've just read the top bit, which says, "How would you have spent Todd Boehly's 320 million?"
I've picked 3 players.
Thinking like mansion. No, I haven't picked players. I've gone for like cars, mansion, like
holiday,
golf simulator. Why don't you just like go for your players for Liverpool that you could have bought, and I'll match it with some stuff you could get for that price in the real world.
Right, let me just get my first player up because I need to know his value. And right, this is the guy I would have probably got instead of Mudryk.
How much was? I think it's pronounced Mudryk.
This guy literally is 100 mil.
I'm doing the numbers. So 100 million divided by 15 quid. Let's say when you go to Nando's, you spend 15 quid there or thereabouts, right? You could have got fucking hell 6.6 million Nando's.
Yeah, but you'd probably get about 7 million Nando's because of all the loyalty cards as well. You get loads of chilies and stuff.
You get hella chilies, mate.
So my first player, coming in at a whopping £100 million on transfer market, is Jamal Musiala, the British/German wonder kid. Every time I've seen him, he just looks fucking mad. Like dribbling wise, he's like reminds me of a young Sterling, better, but he doesn't yet know how to finish his dinner, but he can dribble. I don't see why he'd leave because when you're at Bayern, players love playing for Bayern, but that's in my dreamland who I'd get.
Not to get like philosophical, because I know this isn't a philosophical podcast, but I think all of this stuff just points out that Todd Boehly might inherently be a deeply unhappy man.
Why?
If you've got 600 mil to spend on Chelsea, like the guy, he can obviously do absolutely anything he wants in his life.
Oh yeah.
Which, fair enough, maybe this is what he wants to do, but I think spending your time in a Chelsea boardroom stressing over which players to nick off Arsenal, is that the way to inner happiness for these billionaires? I mean, it must be.
It's not about happiness, Al, and I agree. I don't think he is happy truly, but it's about power and it's about fame because nobody knew who Todd Boehly was before, but now everyone's talking about him.
Fame.
I think it is though.
All right, go for your second player, mate. Who'd you go for?
My second player. This is not me being a cop out here. I genuinely think I would have bought Enzo Fernandez. They need a centre mid, and he just seems like the guy. What was the fucking thing he won the World Cup? Best young player, basically.
Young player of the tournament, yeah,
and
that one.
he just looks Chelsea as well. He's got the fresh veneers. Like he can't speak a word of English. It just works for Chelsea. I think.
I don't think he looks Chelsea. I think he looks Towie.
Yeah, he definitely looks Towie. Yeah,
God,
definitely looks Towie.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him made in Chelsea, but I could imagine him on Towie with like Arge and Bobby Norris. As a West Ham fan, if I'm the owner of West Ham and I've got 320 million to spend in one transfer window, I'll probably go for Danny Ings. I feel like he's what we need. Feel like you're getting pretty cheap. Probably spend like 100 mil getting someone just to take Antonio away from the club.
How much are you paying to get rid of Antonio?
100 mil. Then
cool.
Probably just a manager, to be honest. Like just a good manager that isn't Moyes. Declan Rice is going to go as well. Have you seen that? He's going to go to Arsenal.
He's going to Arsenal. Oh.
Yeah, but I've always had an Arsenal vibe about him, haven't you? Can't you just like...
They're going to need a replacement for Partey at some point.
Why is that?
Because injuries. Yeah, the only reason I saw him going Chelsea is because obviously he's like best mates with Mason Mount. But I reckon Mason Mount's going to be out the door at some point. He doesn't fit the Todd Boehly mould. Like he didn't cost 100 mil.
Yeah, he was homegrown. You've got no room for that, have you?
No.
Okay, so let's say you've won the lottery and it's 320 mil. No, let's say it's 600 mil. What would be the first thing you buy? And you can't say a house.
No, it wouldn't be a house. It'd be a holiday.
What, Benidorm?
Yeah, Tenerife, Benidorm, one of the Canary Islands, probably.
Yeah, nice.
Hot and
Wait a minute. Hang on. So, right, if we work this out, let's say good all inclusive. Let's say good all inclusive in Tenerife for a week. Let's say 600 quid per person. Yeah, and let's say he wants to take his family. I don't know. Let's say he's got 2 kids and his wife. 600 quid times 4. So for 4 people, 2,400. So times that by 50. Oh shit! Wait. Times £2,400 by 52. 52 times 2,400 equals £124,800. So he could spend his life at an all-inclusive resort in Tenerife.
Fucking hell.
And instead he's just messing up Chelsea. Like, this is what I mean. Decisions, he could be relaxed all year round for 124 grand.
I don't know. Do you think these people? Do you reckon they get stressed? Like, because they sort of seem like different breeds where like they don't feel stressed the same way you and I do. Do they get stressed when they spend 100 mil and it just goes on Pepe?
Well, he was playing Angry Birds in the stadium.
Was he?
Yeah, he got caught playing Angry Birds. Which actually just shows how out the loop he is, because Angry Birds hasn't been about for donkeys, has it? Hasn't been a good game.
If he didn't want his name in the limelight, I'm sure he could manage a way to do that. He wants his name out there.
Now thinking about it, like all that Tenerife and Nando's stuff, football's actually gone insane, hasn't it? The amount of money people pay.
It makes sense though, in terms of like people are able to make money out of that. Like people can spend hundreds of millions and be profitable. I don't think that Chelsea are going to be, but like that's how much money is in the Premier League. It's fucking crazy.
Right, we'll go through the top football stories this week then, the second part of the show. Luke, Liverpool got absolutely mullered by Wolves on the weekend.
Yeah.
Is this the end of the road for Klopp? What does he have to do to get sacked? I mean, does he ever take the blame himself, or is it always the refs? Like, what's going on?
The difficult bit is, do you know how I will always, not just me, Liverpool fans will always back Klopp like to the death because he's won us Champions League, Premier League. It's getting to the point now where it's tough to like back him up because he's becoming very bitter. It sort of seems like this might be a genuine start of a downfall because like he's losing his mind. He can't be blamed. Nothing's his fault. I'm worried. I don't want to see him go, and I obviously I don't have to pull the trigger myself. But if there was a manager available like Tuchel at the end of the season and we were still flopping this hard, I'd probably go for it. We are not like a top half team this year. We're so bad.
Why have you bought Gakpo and just put him straight in the team? I'll never know. Off the back of like 3 goals in the World Cup.
Darwin Núñez, I think he'll become good, but it just doesn't make sense. Why did we not just stick to the system that has been working for us for fucking years? I do think if he got on till next season, we'd kickstart. But I've been saying that all season, and we just lost 3-0 to Wolves.
Why does Klopp have to be such a dickhead to like every reporter that speaks to him? Like, why is he so like? Why he's the only guy that does it? He's a complete to any reporters. If they lost the game, he just digs out the reporters. Like,
yeah,
he's like, do you know what he's like? He's like when someone's like rude to the waiter in a restaurant or something.
Yeah, it's never good when you start doing that. Like, just sort of like refusing to answer from certain reporters.
How personal do you think Klopp would go?
I think if he had something personal or dirt on someone, he wouldn't be afraid to use it if we just got banged.
Yeah, well, we lost, but your wife cheats on you, so
yeah, something like that. Well, yeah, but at least my wife's loyal, and then sort of drop that kind of bomb.
Right, we got Sean Dyche returned. Is it happening? Is it the downfall of Arsenal, do you think? Is this it? Are we starting to see it?
Even if it is, I don't see anyone else catching them. So I don't think it is.
No.
I don't think it is. I just think Arsenal just got Dyched. You get Dyched every now and then. Everyone gets Dyched.
It is their bogey team as well. I find it interesting that Arsenal playing their bogey team, so were Man City on the same weekend. It was sort of written in the stars for them, I think. I'm with you. I think they've won it. Although there's a long way to go, the City were absolutely awful against Spurs, and I just can't see him catch it. I think there's more threat from Man United, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say so. I actually think Man United, if anyone's going to kick on and do it, it's going to be United. Because Man City, everyone's like, oh, City, they'll string 10 wins, 15 wins together. I don't think they will.
They better do it now.
Yeah, exactly. You're leaving it pretty late.
And then the big story of the week, your boy, Mason Greenwood. He's back. He's had all his charges dropped from his seemingly facing his life sentence. Well, how on earth has he got out of that? And secondly, would any team take him right now? Like, I mean, it's a bit different of being proven guilty because he's pretty much proven himself guilty.
I reckon
it's a dodgy one, isn't it? He's a PR nightmare.
No one in the Prem can take him on right now. I don't know what would happen, but it'd just be, yeah, exactly as you said, a PR fucking nightmare.
Do you know where Mason Greenwood's going to go?
No.
Turkish Super League.
Yeah, I think Turkey, yeah. Even China wouldn't even have him.
Maybe China would. I don't know. Is he even good? Do you think he's still going to be good?
Yeah.
How long has he been out for? Like a year? Do you think he's been training?
I doubt he's been training to any sort of elite level because he'll, like in all seriousness, he'll be in like some deep depression. Like, that is some mad shit to be going through.
Don't try and like make me have sympathy for him.
No, I'm not trying to say sympathy.
He did what he did. He got caught.
There's no way he's doing any sort of fucking exercise. And if he came back for football, his mind would never be the same.
Imagine the abuse he'll get in the grounds as well. He plays. I reckon it's the last thing on his mind at the moment.
The more I think about it, he'll never play again. He'll never play again in England.
Right, so part 3, we got the Who Knows Ball draft, week 2. If my calculations are correct, that means this week we're going to be doing the letter B. So, yeah, in case you didn't see last week, simple concept. We're operating a draft system, which means we're trying to make the best five-a-side team. If I pick a player, Luke can't pick him, and so on. And I've gone a bit rogue this week. I'm thinking pure five-a-side talent. I'm not thinking about big names. They're all obviously big names, but I'm not thinking about the stars, basically. So, Luke, you went first last week, so I am going to go first this week, and my first pick is Dimitar Berbatov.
I mean, I'm looking at that name right now, and when I wrote this down, I knew you'd want him, so I was actually hoping I was going to get in there before you because, yeah, he's a five-a-side guy. Touch, bang. Touch, bang. Touch, bang.
Walks around the pitch, and also he'll be more lethal because it's in a smaller area, mate.
On that note, yeah, I'm going to take a very similar player. I'm going to take Dennis Bergkamp.
I think Berbatov's better.
Potentially, yeah, but Dennis Bergkamp.
Dennis Bergkamp, I think, overrated, in my humble opinion.
Fuck off.
And not as
No.
good as Berbatov.
Mental. He's probably one of the most underrated players. We've got a very similar start there, I'd say, in terms of we've got two players who've got a fucking sexual touch.
I'm going to go for my second pick. He's going to be Yossi Benayoun.
I did think about that. I like it. I can't lie. The one thing I would say is he's very slight. You know, you put a, if you get near enough, if you get near enough to him, first of all, you have to get near Yossi first of all. But if you do, you can knock him off the ball quite easy.
He'll be drawing those fouls, mate. The refs at five-a-side are hot on it.
I feel like everywhere he went, he did pretty well.
So yeah, your second pick, mate. Go for it.
I'm gonna go for another finisher, lethal finisher. I'm going for Karim Benzema, the obvious choice.
Bait, mate. That's just embarrassing.
What do you mean? It's just bait. He's fucking.
It's embarrassing,
sick.
mate. It's just so obvious. It's called Who Knows Ball when you're picking Benzema. It's just embarrassing, mate. Benzema, not a team player, just an all-around dickhead. My third pick is Demba Ba. Beast. Absolute beast up top.
That's terrible.
We've got the huge presence of Demba Ba, the finishing, and we've got Berbatov up top, and we've got Benayoun spoon feeding both of them, mate. It's going to be a whitewash, I'm telling you. What's your third pick?
I know you're going to take the piss out of me for this one. It's the guy who's gonna defend, and he's gonna pass the ball, and he's gonna keep it simple. It's Sergio Busquets.
Oh God!
Think about the amount of five-a-side games.
It's five-a-side, and you've gone for
Barcelona.
Busquets.
Based for Barcelona, mate.
Look, five-a-side, you need to be able to get goals from all over the pitch. You've gone for Busquets. No, I'm sorry. This is the Who Knows Ball draft. And you do not know ball, mate. That is awful. Right, my next player in attack again is Hatem Ben Arfa.
All good for five-a-sides skills. Your team is very selfish.
No, not at all, mate. What, Benayoun selfish?
Berbatov is very selfish. Hatem Ben Arfa is very selfish. Yossi Benayoun less so, but still selfish.
Your fourth pick, please.
It's Gianluigi Buffon. Not much to be said there. Potentially the greatest keeper of all time.
Oh my God. You are the most boring man in the world. My team are going to turn out down five-a-side and they're going to be up for it and they're going to do a job. They're going to enjoy playing football. Yours are going to turn up like, what the fuck is this? Pick number 5 for me. I've gone for 4 very attacking players so far, so I had to have a rock at the back. Tal Ben Haim.
Ben Haim. He's slow as fuck.
Won the league at Chelsea, mate.
This guy, I'm going to go for him because he can shoot from anywhere on the pitch. And it's Balak.
Before we go through the full teams, was there anyone nearly just missed out from your team? Like, who do you think?
Genuinely, Darren Bent. Like, if you had taken Benzema and Berbatov, I would have gone Darren Bent because he's a finisher. The one person who isn't it who's proper bait is David Beckham, but like, I don't need someone whipping crosses in like on five-a-side. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine turning up at five-a-side and playing against Ashley Barnes and Joey Barton.
At five-a-side, you got to think about these things because usually you've just finished work, like you kind of can't be arsed, and then when you turn up and you're just getting the shit kicked out of you by Joey Barton, Ashley Barnes, Titus Bramble.
Bramble, that's a good shout.
You're going to regret your decision. Maybe Gareth Barry in there as well, just someone who can actually get him knocking about.
Who wins out of my team or Luke's team? My team is Demba Ba, Dimitar Berbatov, Yossi Benayoun, Tal Ben Haim, and Hatem Ben Arfa. Real five-a-side players. They're going to get up there and they're going to work. Luke's team: Dennis Bergkamp, Karim Benzema, Sergio Busquets, Buffon, Michael Ballack. Probably the most boring team on earth. Let us know in the comments who you think's winning that match. And if you choose Luke's team, then you just don't know ball. Yeah, so Luke, I'm sure you used to watch Premier League years on Sky.
Of course.
Yeah, this next section is called a trip down memory lane. We're going to be picking a year every week and going for a little trip down memory lane. This week is a solid year. We got 2008.
World Cup.
There was no World Cup. There was no World
no,
Cup
Euros,
in 2008,
Euros.
mate. We weren't even in it. We didn't even qualify.
I would have been at school.
I can't
you
go
know,
over
like,
that. This is a football
what?
podcast. This is a football podcast. We're doing a trip down memory lane. The year is 2008. Your first words are World Cup.
But the one thing I saw, which brings back good memories of me getting excited from football, and I think you'll like this as well, it's when Man City signed Robinho.
Ah, the moment football changed forever.
Everyone knew Robinho from FIFA, from AC Milan, from Skills, all that stuff. And it was like, finally, the Premier League are getting like, we never used to get that caliber kind of player. He should have gone to Madrid. He should have gone to Barcelona. But he came to Man City, which was really weird at the time because it would have basically been like Newcastle now.
He thought that he'd signed for Chelsea. And in his first press conference, he said he was really happy to join Chelsea. What a guy, man! What a guy! They weren't like crazily good that year, but they had like I remember Stephen Ireland was on fire, and he had the carbon fiber mercurials. Do you remember the pink and grey first ever carbon fiber boots? And he was just banging goals in with his bald head because he got a hair transplant and it went wrong, so he went completely bald. Scenes, mate, absolute scenes.
Well, the couple of years where Man City were like truly finding their feet,
sort of like Newcastle are out.
No, but Newcastle aren't. They're not doing like if they were doing what Man City were doing, they'd be like trying to get Mbappe and stuff.
Do you know what I got for my birthday in 2008? iPod Classic 680 gig, I think. I had so many songs on there.
80
mate.
gig, yeah, that's big.
80 gig, and I think I had like 200 songs on there.
The amount of songs you've downloaded on LimeWire is actually mad. Also, like I know it was a joke that like LimeWire broke your computer, but genuinely LimeWire broke every fucking computer I ever had.
Really?
Yeah, like to the point where I remember there was one time it downloaded some like porn virus.
What category?
They would open my computer and it would just be loads of old men like each other off in the shower, and I had to explain it to my mum.
So I used to do. My parents used to have loads of CDs. Get the CD, put it in my laptop, transfer the songs from the CD
burn
onto
it,
iTunes, and then transfer them to my iPod. Yeah, burn it onto the iPod. It was long. I remember like many a weekend because I was like 13. Like you don't care about anything when you're 13, do you? Like apart from like maybe watch football when it's on, play a bit of PlayStation, play a bit of COD, and then you've got nothing else to do. So you might as well just stock up your iPod for the week with like some Pink Floyd album that you're never going to listen to because you're 13. It's mental, mate.
And if I really liked the song, I'd buy it for 79p.
Really? Would you do that?
Yeah, sometimes I'd beg my mum for like £5.
I think I bought a Timberland song.
I've got a 2008 song for you that I bought.
Yeah.
When the fish swam out of the ocean and grew legs and they started walking. Yeah, do you know that banger?
Yeah, that's a banger, mate.
Black and Gold, Sam Sparrow.
2008 was a really good year. I don't know. I don't know if it was something about years with an even number. That like they're always really good. I feel
some of the songs in the movies this year were fucking banging. Like so the movies, I know you especially like. We'll get to that, yeah. But like they've
go on, get to it now. Get to it now. We got time.
Okay, first of all, this is before I get to the comedies, which are the best bit. Taken came out.
Okay, solid film.
These three movies are sick, in my opinion. Okay, Role Models, Pineapple Express, and Semi-Pro.
Yes, 3 10 out of 10 films there.
Yeah,
Role Models is an amazing film. I remember I showed it to my little cousin, like I'd say about 5 years ago, and he was like 13 at the time, and he'd never seen it. Oh, mate, he was pissing himself.
Yeah, it's so good.
Actually saw some people LARPing in the woods like a few weeks ago. You know,
LARPing.
If you don't know what that is, LARPing is live action role play where people like dress up as like a witch, like medieval characters, and like have a battle in the woods. It's really sad, basically, but it actually does look kind of fun as well. But I did see some people in the woods doing it, and it was like, yeah.
Role Models made it cool.
I wouldn't say that.
No.
there'd been a lot of time and planning gone into that level of LARP warfare. You know,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
wasn't. You can't just get 10 mates together and do it. You know, it has to be there. There was a couple hundred of them there. When the one I saw, there was about 30 people. Looked good, mate. Looked solid. You know, you could just turn up with your lunchbox and your sword and just go at it with people, and you might meet a maiden. You know, you might win yourself a maiden.
Because obviously, if you're a fella like who likes all that stuff, you need to find a lovely maiden at that kind of place, because it's going to be a lot more accepting.
That's genuinely the only way you're going to be able to meet a girl who likes you for you.
I reckon the gossip at those kind of things would be mad. They probably all fancy the same girl, and that there's going to be one guy who wins the race.
I just googled LARPing London. There's a website where you can just sign up and just LARP. There's a festival, London's International LARP Festival. It's called The Smoke. 80 quid for a ticket. Jesus Christ.
80
Is
quid.
it Fenchurch Street, Leadenhall Street? Mate, we should go. We can do a documentary on it.
You know what? That'd be a good documentary, actually.
Back to 2008. Yeah, we didn't qualify for the Euros because Steve McManaman? No, what am I talking about? Steve McLaren didn't manage to qualify us for that. We lost to Croatia. And I cried after that because like the Euros is happening and we had a mad team and we didn't qualify, and it was just like, what the fuck? I did cry.
Do you remember where you were when you were crying?
Yeah, I was in my living room. Well, I'm not going to be out in a pub, am I? I'm 13.
That Euros was a bit weird because it was a bit. Spain won it the boring way. They won like basically every game 1-0.
Torres and David Villa were just tearing it up front.
Yeah, that was the Spain dominant era. Like when they didn't just have like incredible creative players. They had a striker, 2 strikers who could just finish.
Yeah, the Olympics.
banger.
The Olympics. Wait, what? Say that again.
I said I was just about to hit you with a Clubland banger that came out in 2008. It was BOEHLY wearing my Rolex. Banger.
Yeah, wearing my Rolex is a great tune.
Yeah. Still play it to this day. Still something that gets the party pumping.
Bass Hunter as well. Yeah. All I ever wanted was to see you smiling.
He was something special, a generational talent.
This is better than talking about football.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I feel really nostalgic. Do you know what actually did used to go off? Doctor Who?
No, fuck off, you nerd.
In Between it started in 2008, but there's no way I watched it. There's no way I watched it then.
No, I was never watching it at a point where like it just came out.
2008, there was no Facebook. Bebo, do you remember Bebo? Do you ever have that?
Bebo, I had Bebo to connect with all my Irish cousins.
Really?
Yeah, because that was much bigger. Like you could make someone your other half, and you could have like your top 10.
Yeah.
And that was just a thing out there.
Who was your other half?
It was my cousin Ema.
Boy, hang on.
What?
The other half is meant to be like your girl you fancy, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
You put it as your cousin.
Yeah, no, but I didn't know what your other half meant. All it really meant was
you know what? I don't actually expect anything less from you, mate.
Yeah, no, it does sound a bit dodgy, doesn't it?
What did you do? You playing Sunday League back then, of course.
Yeah, 13 was a weird age because you weren't really like drinking and going out, but you were sort of like just about to get to that age.
We used to go to town, like town centre, and like just do nothing, all for like 6 hours, and it would be the funnest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like it would be so fun.
What town are you from again? Bradford.
Bromley. But you would go to Top Man, yeah, wearing one of those 2 for £10 Top Man shirts.
Oh yeah.
Like you go in there wearing one and like check out all the other ones, and then someone would be like, "Oh, look at this," and they'd have like a funny hat on. And you do that. You'd literally do that for like hours, like try on stupid outfits. And like you'd be in there for like an hour, and the shop assistants would be staring at you like, "Get a fucking life."
We'd go to Brent Cross Shopping Centre, and then we'd go to the Apple shop, and then we just take photos on the iPads and like the iPhones there.
Football wise, I got a couple football memories from that year. Like one of them was actually quite traumatic. I'll take you through now. My Liverpool nan used to have like a caravan at Haven in North Wales. We used to go there sometimes, like in the summer. And obviously, I had no mates there, so I just used to go down. It had like a massive football complex, like 3 AstroTurf pitches. So I just used to go down there and be like, "Oh, does anyone want to play a match?" And then, yeah. So I was in my West Ham kit, full away kit with XL Airways on it, and yeah, went down there, started playing football with like all these Scousers, like everyone there was a Scouser apart from me.
Yeah.
And this other kid from Stoke, and he was so fat, this kid, mate, he must have been like 15 stone, mate, honestly, like he was a kid as well. And yeah, so they called him Stokey, so, and then I can't remember what they called me, it was probably something derogatory. And then yeah, so then after a few days of playing with them, they all turned on me, and then like just basically beat me up. They like pinned me to the ground, and like they got Stokey, this fat kid, to sit on me, and I genuinely couldn't breathe. Yeah, and I was like crying. It was genuinely just because I had a West Ham shirt on. They were like, everyone got in a circle, was like booting the ball at me while I was on the floor and stuff. And then I went back to the caravan crying, and I was like to my mum, like, "Oh, these big boys, they beat me up." And then my mum came out with she bought a tennis racket, and she was like, "Right, let's go and get them." So my mum came out with a tennis racket with my auntie, and she was like, show us where they are. So we got to the AstroTurf, and like obviously all the other boys ran off, and then you just had Stokey, who was like too fat to run, like trying to run away from my mum and my auntie. And I was just like, no, it wasn't really him. He's the other outsider. He was actually on my team. He was forced to do it. And then yeah, I never went back there. But yeah, that was my 2008.
Would you say it was a near-death experience?
It's probably the closest I've come. Yeah, I reckon I was within 20 seconds from death.
Yeah.
It was more of an emotionally scarring one, being the outsider rather than physically. Obviously, it hurt when he sat on me, and I couldn't breathe in that. But yeah, it was pretty scary. Yeah, what were you doing football-wise in 2008?
I've got a good highlight which links back to like what you're just saying about Caravan Club and that. But I'm thinking, like, back when I was 13, I genuinely think I was playing football about 6 or 7 times a week. Because I'd play for my school team, I was playing Saturday football, and I was playing Sunday football, and I'd go to training. I was just fucking obsessed. I used to go to Ireland like every summer for 3 weeks, and we used to go to this Ballon Road camp in Waterford. And the one thing I learned is that if you're English, you're already like so much better at football than everyone in Ireland. Because I'd go there and I'd just absolutely destroy it. But it was this one time, yeah. So there's like obviously there's only like 1 or 2 English people there, and there's this girl, and she's probably about 16 stone, and she's probably about 3 years older than me, and it comes out of the like I go in one day and everyone's telling me, "Oh yeah, like that girl fancies you," and I'm fucking terrified, yeah, because I'm terrified because genuinely, like I knew I was gonna have to reject her, and I knew that she would beat the shit out of me. So yeah, it got to the point where like obviously I didn't need to say anything for a while, and then it got to the point where someone had asked on her behalf, and she was sort of like waiting. I was like, yeah, no. But then after that, she turned on me and she started saying she fucking hates English people. And I was always looking around the corner. I just thought she was going to beat the shit out of me. This big fat girl.
Do you remember her name?
I can't actually remember her name. I don't mean this in a bad way to anyone called that, but something like Gertrude. It was a fat person's name. It wasn't Gertrude, but it made sense that she was called that.
First of all, a disclaimer: if we do have anyone called Gertrude who regularly watches the podcast, Luke would like to apologise. You got asked on her behalf.
They just said, my friend fancies you. Do you fancy her? Like it's something very simple as like that.
If you'd have said yes, what would have been expected of you?
So this is the other thing. So in Ireland, there's a thing called meeting. So if you meet a girl, you'd go meet a girl, and which would mean you'd basically go around the corner and you'd get with them. And like this is what the things that people were doing, like my cousins were doing. And like I was 13 and I'd never done anything of the fucking kind. I'd never done anything like that. So I was that's why I was terrified. because she was fucking huge.
Yeah, but you could have gone back. You could have been that kid that comes back from summer holidays at school, and everyone's like, "Oh, what'd you get to this summer?" Then he's like, "Got with a girl, didn't I?"
Yeah, I got the girl. Like, let's see a photo. Let's see a photo.
Yeah. Let's see
like,
the
nah.
photo.
Didn't matter who it was. If it was any girl, even if she was fit, I would still been terrified because I was 13. And then the second thing was I just genuinely thought the rejection was going to be so hard for her that she's going to beat the shit out of me, which she could have easily done.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's one thing you can say about football: it brings people together. In terms of 2008 football, who won the league? Was it Man United?
I believe Man United did the double that year.
Reading, Birmingham, and Derby went down. Derby went down with the least points in Premier League history, 11.
That Robbie Savage played for them that year. I remember that. Also, what I can remember from that year, Portsmouth won the FA Cup with Harry Redknapp.
When I first saw this, I was like, "Oh, why the fuck are we doing 2008?"
Yeah, it's all making sense now, isn't it?
I reckon it's probably the best year of my life.
To be fair, like now I'm thinking about like that age, 13, 14, it's a good age.
Well, that was the Dugouts. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a download. It does really help. If you're watching on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, just hit us up with a like, with a follow, with a comment on anything you think. Really helps us out. But we will see you again next week, same time. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.